Welcome back to, and thanks for joining us here on America's Retirement Headquarters, home of the Retirement Guys Formula and America's Medicare Associates with Scott Kerschner and Dave Ross. 419-794-3030 is the phone number. ARHQ.com is the website. Let's talk about America's Medicare Associates here, Scott. We've talked about the different enrollment periods, annual election period, open enrollment that come with Medicare. Well, what happens, when the calendar changes, those periods end, and you happen to turn 65? Who is required to actually enroll in Medicare A and B?
Well, Chris, that's a great question, and that's obviously in my lane. Now we're talking my language, right? It's something I'm very passionate about, and most people that meet with me can tell that. But one of the things, just because these enrollment periods end, doesn't mean that you're not going to get a birthday and turn 65. So here's what happens. If you are turning 65, first, if you or your spouse are no longer working, then you must sign up for Medicare, okay? So if you don't have credible coverage through yourself or your spouse through an employer, then you must sign up for Medicare. Secondly, if you are on COBRA, so let's say that you terminate COBRA or retire or terminate work and you are on COBRA, retire early and take out extended coverage on COBRA, COBRA does not constitute credible coverage for Medicare. And what I mean by that is it doesn't mean that you don't have to sign up for Medicare if you're on COBRA. It means you do have to sign up for Medicare. A third person that would be required to sign up is if you are on the Unaffordable Care Act. I refer to that because I had a client in actually last week, and his premiums were off the charts. He looked at me and said, "This is horribly unaffordable." I go, "That's exactly why I refer to it as that." But in any case, if you are on an ACA plan, that is not credible coverage. So if you are on an individual product, you would need to sign up for Medicare as well. If you work for a small group, now this would be under 20, so 19 employees on payroll or less, you would definitely want to sign up for Medicare as well. And that's a lot of confusion with a lot of people is about that one there. And I'm going to explain why you need to sign up for these in just 1 second. Now, last on my list here is TRICARE. Now, don't confuse TRICARE with the VA benefits because the VA benefits help our veterans. TRICARE is for those in the military that retire from the military. They get what's called TRICARE for life, okay? If you are on TRICARE, you still need to enroll in Medicare Part A and B. Now, the important thing to remember for COBRA, the ACA, small group, TRICARE, and why you need to sign up for these, because what happens is Medicare A and B become your primary coverage, okay? So if you're on COBRA or an ACA plan, individual plan, or a small group or TRICARE, that is your secondary insurance, okay? If you do not sign up for Medicare A and B, then you become the payer first, okay? So those four, COBRA, ACA, small group, and TRICARE, are secondary coverages. They cover second. So you would pay first, okay? The other important thing to think about as to why you want to sign up when you're eligible is because if you do not sign up and you don't have credible coverage, then what's going to happen is you could suffer a penalty. And that penalty sticks with you for life. It doesn't go away. It hangs with you for life. That penalty for not signing up for Part B is a 10% penalty. And that penalty is 10% for each year that you did not enroll that you should have. Simple math, if you go 2 years without signing up and then decide to sign up for Medicare, 20% penalty. Now that penalty is, what's the penalty? Penalty of what? The Part B premium. Okay, right now, The standard income earner, individual is 101 on your tax return, 101,000. For a couple, it's 202,000. So if you are under those income levels, then you would pay 174.70 for 2024, and your 20% penalty would obviously be roughly $35 in addition to that. Okay, so that's the important reasons why, if you are outside of those enrollment periods, that's why you're going to want to sign up for Medicare when you turn 65. And, I'm here to help you with all of that.
Well, I turned 65 in September,
Okay.
and my wife's a school teacher at Washington Local Schools, and I was under the impression, because I heard about these penalties, and I started to get the squirms a little bit, and then I was told that because her health insurance is, quote, credible coverage,
Yes.
I don't have to enroll in Medicare A and B.
Yeah, Dave, that's a great point. I run into that a lot. I get it all the time, and when I do my educational events, one of the things I do is I'll ask a question to the audience, those in attendance, and I usually have to I have to prepare them when I ask this question, and I say, if you're sitting across from this particular person, please forgive me, but one of the things I ask is a show of hands. How many of you have a friend, a loved one, a family member, a coworker, an employer that tells you when you turn 65, you have to sign up for Medicare? And almost everybody raises their hand, right? And this is what I tell them, okay? Shake your head and acknowledge them and thank them, because they mean well. I mean, they really do. They mean well. The problem is they don't know your situation, and they really don't know what they're talking about because they don't have all of the information. So you brought up a good point. If you are working for an employer over 20, now remember in this segment I mentioned under 20 you have to sign it. If you're working for an employer over 20 employees and they are offering you health insurance, then you do not have to sign up for A or B. You do not have to. Now, a lot of people say, well, sign up for A because it's free. That's true, unless you have an HSA account, a health savings account. You can no longer contribute to that if you're signed up for A or B. So in your particular situation, with your wife having coverage, you do not have to actually enroll in Medicare. So one of the things that we do here at AMA, Troy and myself, is we get into the numbers and we determine whether it makes sense to sign up for it. A couple I met with just yesterday, Friday, I met with them, and his wife was paying $1,000 a month, and he was paying $900 a month on the Unaffordable Care Act, and Medicare is $174.70. So it obviously makes sense to drop that employer or that plan that they have and go on to Medicare. So if you want to know how this would work for you, what you're eligible for, and how to sign up for all of this, let us know here at AMA, and we'd be more than happy to help you.
It all starts with that phone call, 419-794-3030, if you have questions about your Medicare eligibility. And actually, Scott mentioned these events, lots of Medicare workshops coming up actually in the next couple of weeks. You can find all of that info, including how to go ahead and reserve your seat, register and reserve your seat by going to arhq.com and clicking on the events tab.